to me. I'll murder you momentarily. But first, I need a cool drink of ice water.
Batman Returns, your thoughts. How do So if we had problems with Batman 89, we're really going to ramp it up now, aren't we?
Wow. I think we talked about, I mean, again, if this movie wasn't Batman and it wasn't just, a classic and something that we all grew up in and loved, again, this movie is just full of holes. But again, Equilibrium was full of holes, and I loved that movie. So I really, I'm probably the only. I don't know if you liked it, but out of the three of us, I'm the only one who actually enjoyed the film.
There are people that love it more.
We enjoyed the film. We just no longer enjoy the film because it is very dated.
Well, so are these movies.
No,
Not like Equilibrium.
not like Equilibrium.
Equilibrium
was like
is
it
just... Equilibrium was
was trying to be
Matrix
something
Light.
else.
It was trying to be the Matrix.
It was
Yeah,
Matrix
right.
Light.
Matrix Light.
It was like it was like the Walmart version.
It really was.
Pretty
I
much.
loved it.
Pretty much.
It was Wish Matrix.
My big thing
love
about
that Sean Bean
movie,
still
my
dies
big
in
thing
all of
about
it.
Equilibrium is they spent all that money throughout the production of that film, and everything looks fantastic until the end when the building burned
smoke.
and it's just fake smoke and fake fire. For what reason? It did not
The
have
same
to
reason
be.
they did in Titans. But I there's a lot about this movie that I love. I love the transition and how they tie in the first movie in so much of this movie, even having conversation about Vicky Vale.
Yep.
They tie in a lot of that stuff. I didn't notice this until this time, but even Michelle Pfeiffer when she's Catwoman, and you can see all the stitching coming apart
Yeah.
Yes, as the movie goes on.
as it goes on. I
Yep.
really appreciated that. I appreciate that Batman's suit doesn't look so as rubbery as the first movie.
yeah.
Like it was thick rubber in the first movie.
Yeah.
In this one, it was definitely tightened up. His belt wasn't as loose in this movie as it was in the first one.
It was just that one shot.
It was just that one shot. It was pretty funny. Danny DeVito, I do honestly, I the groaning that he does through the majority of the film, I have a hard time with. Yeah,
Well, that's
the grunting.
it's. I mean, he's supposed to be the Penguin. He's trying to do what penguins do,
the penguin. I mean, like
Yeah.
Burgess Meredith there.
and I get that, but it's just it's super obnoxious through majority of this film. My question is this: he's running for mayor. Who in their right mind would vote for this guy to be mayor?
Well, this goes to what we were talking about before, the whole
poor orphan
dystopian thing.
boy who just came out of the sewer and he's looking for his
And
parents
saved a
and
baby.
he wants sympathy and his I have a name.
It's actually you're right, but it's actually a nod to the '60s TV show with Adam West, because there was an episode where the Penguin ran for mayor.
Right.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, Dishonor the Penguin is the name of the episode. So it's a subtle
I wish this
callback.
movie started off with the first movie ended with tune in next time to the same bat time, same
Yeah,
bat channel.
right.
And then this one, the bat symbol going in and out. The part I don't get that really throws us off is nobody knows who Batman is. Yet there are two, not one, two bat symbols that shine directly into his rooms in his house.
Yeah, but
One-
nobody's anywhere near Wayne Manor to see that.
It's up on a hill. I don't care.
Really far away.
It shines
through
right
lots
in
of
his.
woods.
In
It
his
shines
den.
into the like it's a big symbol. Like it's like right out here, shine right into his room, and no one. People go to his house.
Not anymore. Just that one time.
Just that.
No one goes there anymore. He's never home.
It's a different Wayne Manor too, if you notice.
It is a
Yeah.
different building. It's a different house.
Way
It's a different
house.
movie.
Way different.
It's I'll get into it. It's a different
totally is.
movie.
But overall, I do. I don't know if I like this one more than the first one or the first one more than this one. It's really hard. I like them both almost
Yeah.
equally, for very different reasons though. Michelle Pfeiffer, I think. I don't get how she can fall 5 stories and then cats lick her, chew on her finger, and then she becomes alive.
That
again.
freaked me out as a
Yes.
kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I forgot. I'm sitting there watching. I'm going, oh my gosh, that cat is like chewing on
Gnawing
her,
on her
like
finger.
gnawing on her
Yeah.
finger. Like
Uh-huh.
that's pretty creepy.
Yep.
I
I can feel it. Like I know what that feels like. So
I
I'm like,
think I think though that Michelle Pfeiffer as Selena Kyle nailed it.
yeah.
When she was like, and her first part when she walks home, honey, I'm home.
Oh yeah, I
All
forgot.
right, I forgot. I'm not married, and she's just
like-
knocking things over,
just pouring the milk all over the floor.
all over the
all
place,
over her face.
chugging it. You know,
Oh, after the fact. Yeah.
all
yeah,
after
yeah.
the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus when you saw her later on, like not later on, but
earlier,
before,
yeah.
earlier on, doing
Right.
that exact same routine.
That earlier
Yeah.
that night.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think Christopher Walken, not Walkins.
Who said that?
Is that a thing?
Oh, the Christopher Walkens, yo.
Oh.
The Michael Keatons.
But
Don't do it.
he was just Christopher Walken in this movie. There's no like describing Jack Nicholson as Joker. Like you said before, you know, he's Jack Nicholson playing Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Christopher Walken was just Christopher Walken.
But Christopher Walken is Christopher Walken in everything that he's in.
Ooh, I like
so
it.
There's no.
He's just
It just sounded like him too.
Yeah, I mean, this movie. I don't know. This definitely, like you were saying, the look is different. The Tim Burton feel definitely comes out in this movie, like
Oh, yeah.
big time. Again, there's a lot of holes. The slow entrances don't happen as much. But there's not. I wish. I guess my biggest issue with this movie is I wish there was more Batman. There's not. There's not as much. It's a lot of everybody else
And not
Yeah.
Batman.
and not Batman.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I
It's
wish
an
there was more
ensemble.
Bat.
Yeah.
It's
It
more of an
is.
ensemble movie than a Batman movie.
Right. And I wish there was more Batman. Like there was more focus on Penguin in this movie than there was any other character.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I
Yeah.
think the funniest part is when he's in the, those.
But
those
the same
cars
thing,
used
you
to
know what?
drive in
The
as a
same thing
kid?
could be said for
Yeah, yeah,
'89.
yeah.
Jack Nicholson has as much screen time as Michael Keaton does. You can almost say the same thing here. It's Danny
think he has
DeVito
more.
and Michelle Pfeiffer. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, there's 2 of them, and I think that's what seems like it takes away. There's
Right.
there's more
Yeah.
focus putting on multiple
I
other
I
characters.
forgive that because for a long time I had kind of the same problem. Like, there's not enough Batman in this movie. But then as I got older and like, I realized, oh, it's Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito when it's 1992. Of course, you're going to utilize them as much as possible.
Of course,
Right.
right. I guess it doesn't take away from the movie. I just wish there was more Batman.
Okay.
Even take away less Bruce and give more Batman. Same screen time for Michael Keaton. Just take away less Bruce and give us more Batman. I would have been fine with that too. You know those cars when you were a kid, you go to the grocery store and you'd pay $0.25
Oh, yeah.
and you'd sit in it and
Yeah.
you'd walk back and forth.
I love that. I love that so much. That is so amazing.
When you see, and the best part is he's like in this truck, like this van, and the van itself
trailer.
is
It's
like,
rocking with it.
rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
This whole scene is just messed up. It's so messed up.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Strange.
At the end, when he's releasing all the penguins to go into Gotham, and they're
Oh, yeah.
diving off,
Yes.
and they're going through,
Yes.
and you see like the CG'd V style colors of the ripples of the water going through the sewers. It's hysterical to watch. It's hysterical.
It's great.
Michelle Pfeiffer, I got 7 lives, 6 lives, 5 lives. How about a kiss, And she does this whole thing. I think out of all 3 of them, I do like her character the best in this movie. Out of all 3 of them. I think she nailed it out of the park. Out of all 3 of them, I think she was the best. How soon after? I mean, this was what 4 years after Batman. 3 years. How soon after that movie is this movie? Is it like right after? Is it like a week later?
That's probably accurate to time, I would assume.
3 years?
Maybe.
I mean, they end.
I mean, why not?
They end 89 with here's the symbol, or here's the signal that we're giving to you. Throw it up in the sky anytime you need me, and then goodbye. And now we open this movie up with them throwing up the signal because they need him. So yeah, sure.
Yeah, but different house, same Batcave. Sure.
The different house is not a matter of him moving. It's still Wayne Manor. I think it's just they just decided to change the aesthetics and make it look different. I don't know.
Change the
different,
it's
yeah.
it's a whole. One was a castle. This one was like a. It was taller than it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taller than it was long.
Yeah, the first one was like a legit castle.
Yeah.
This one was just like a big, tall mansion. But overall,
Maybe it's a summer home. Oh, it's winter home.
Winter.
with the same Batcave underneath.
It's a Christmas movie. It's my favorite Christmas movie.
No, Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Well, that too.
Die Hard's by far the best Christmas movie
That too.
ever. But yeah, I did forget that this was during Christmas time.
Yep.
I think the funniest
I mean,
part.
it's all about Christmas.
I think the funniest part is we discussed this in our last talk about 89. Kind of bled over into this, but the mimes that come up, none of them actually know how to mime.
No.
Like they're all over the place. It's
You talking about in the first one? In 89? In 89 is
you're
when
talking
the
about
mimes-
You're
89.
right. That was
Yeah.
89. You're right. Again, I just watched these two like in the same week, so I'm getting them mixed up.
They're blurring together for you. That's okay.
They blur. Well, Penguin has all of his guys who wear the
Circus
circus
guys,
people that wear the
yeah.
same face mat, the
Yeah,
face
sure.
paint and everything.
That's true.
I don't understand the umbrella aspect for Penguin.
That's also a callback to the original.
I've ever seen.
Now, I don't know about.
I need you, Oswald.
I need you now.
Right this way, Mr. Cobblepot. Your table is ready, Mr. Cobblepot. That's the biggest parasol. That's just.
How many times have you seen this one?
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's hilarious.
Show my
I
French
cannot-
flipper
It
trick.
is. It has some serious lines in this movie.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
it does.
insane.
This is
Yes,
definitely
it
Tim
does.
Burton at his
DeVito
best.
and his lines in this movie are fantastic.
I feel like it's just Danny DeVito. They're like, just be sick.
Yeah.
Go for it.
He's
he just
groping
rolls
the
with it.
intern. And I'm gonna put a pin on you.
Here,
How about a button? Yeah.
just get it on there. Yeah.
You're the hottest role model. No,
you're
you're the hottest young personal role model like me
Oh
could
my
have.
god.
And you can see her face. She's like disgusted.
No, she wasn't disgusted. It was
She was
Janet
all
Hooks that
about
was
it.
disgusted.
She was
all about it.
And then she had a look of like disgust.
No, she was kind of like, oh, all right, but she was like, no, it wasn't as much as you think. It was more like, okay, but no. Are you good on yours?
I'm good.
Okay. I gotta share. This is like my favorite Danny DeVito movie. I don't know what it is, but it's just like this has a soft spot in my heart because it's just
A soft spot.
a soft spot in my heart. It's just I don't know what it is, but the way that he pulls off this character, nobody would have done it in this disgusting way.
No.
And he is revolting. Like the entire time.
The black in between his
The
teeth.
black in the teeth, the sharp teeth. I love the line that he says that's, I heard it as a kid, and for some reason this time was the only time I understood it. He goes, I was their number one son, and they treated me like number two. I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
They treated me like poop. I'm like, okay,
It's a poop
now
joke.
I get it. I'm like number two, like a second son. Oh, no. Okay. It's just, I think he had the best lines in the whole thing. Fly away, little kitten, go to heaven.
The bodysuit that he wears in this, though.
The padding, his padding is ridiculous.
I know
So
people who looked
gross.
like that in high school.
At the end, when he falls down and he dies.
Oh,
I don't know what he dies from, but he dies. Like he
I-
just before the six penguins like drag him
just
into
fall.
the.
He falls.
I
and
think
his
he was just-
body like rolls.
like a bowling pin. He just like a big fat little. Yeah, he just needed a drink of ice water. That's,
He died because he
Why?
died from being too hot. That's
Was
why he
it?
died. He was fine.
It was a Mr. Freeze thing.
No, he was too hot and he needed a drink of ice water, and he didn't have it.
Oh, and then he picked out the parasol that had it was the cute one.
Yeah.
I picked a cute one.
did he say that?
Yeah.
Oh, I
then
didn't. I
he-
didn't rewatch that.
He falls
again.
over. Okay, the helicopter umbrella. Okay, how?
Oh no, there's no way. First of all, he's huge. Second of all, it was just little sticks.
Right.
Like it was not like blades. It was just sticks.
But you hear the
Flying away. It
Propellers.
extends down and he flies
I
on it.
think the best part is when he wraps the handle around her neck.
Yeah.
And then launches it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But so I don't know. The Catwoman stuff, like, okay, great. I thought it was interesting. She goes by and she smacks the sign. It goes from hello there to hell here. I'm like, okay. I always thought that was a little subtle thing that was interesting. Just timing. I thought the comedic yet dark timing of a lot of this stuff was just great. Her coming out after she blows the place, or before she blows the place up, says, meow. It just blows up.
Yes.
And it's like, that's the first time you see them all meet. And both Penguin and Batman are like looking like, is she on your side? Is she on my side? Like, what's going on here? What's this relationship going to be, from this point on in this story?
Right.
And I thought, I like the way that everything came together.
She's the Heath Ledger of this movie. She's the anarchist.
Yeah, okay, if you're looking at it from that sense, sure.
Right. She doesn't have a side.
She doesn't really have a side. She's
She
just
does at the
angry.
end.
Yeah.
She has a side at the end.
Right.
Did this come out like right after animated series or right before?
That's
Right
a
after
good
what?
question. The animated series.
Oh.
I thought it came out around the same time.
I thought it came up before. I mean, animated series, I'm thinking mid-90s.
92,
not early
yeah,
90s.
same time.
Wow.
Same time?
Oh, wow.
Do you know as much of this movie as you do of?
I know
89.
quite a bit about it. Not as much, but I do know some pretty cool factoids.
Can't wait.
Oh man. I'm sorry. I'm looking at now. Clips pop up from the animated series. I'm like, that show is so cool.
Oh,
So here's my biggest question. Bruce Wayne gets shot as Batman. Batman gets shot
Oh yeah.
a number of times between
Uh-huh.
these two movies
Yes. Yet she can stab him.
and rip open his
Yeah.
suit.
Oh yeah, those are really really sharp. So
it's a different suit. Remember,
Yeah, it's a different suit. That's why
the other one had more rubber.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
she's also like
very true.
It is.
she's also like close enough and intimate enough that she can like reach around and feel for the soft spot. Like he's not stopping her
soft
from
spart?
doing this.
What's with the Sparts?
Or
How many
Spartans.
Sparts are here?
It's been
I am Spartacus.
It's been 4 hours. I'm tired. Okay, leave me alone. I will
Well,
speak
we
how I
just
want
did the
to.
same thing.
No, that's why we're laughing. Because I said Sparta.
I know.
Oh man.
I think it's funny that these little she attaches needles to
Yeah, they were like
something
Sure.
to her
sewing
to the
needles on thimbles. I don't
thimbles.
know.
and it's able to like not just penetrate the suit,
But
I
cut
mean
him.
it rips apart the suit
Oh yeah.
It ripped apart him.
and him.
Yeah. You need some antiseptic ointment.
Does it hurt? No. Are you in pain, Master Bruce? Nope.
Didn't he say I don't know or something?
said
He
No.
said, "Not really." Are you in pain, Master Bruce? Not really. Anyways,
Yeah.
continually.
I just honestly, so I love both of these films, and I look at them as two separate films, not in any way of comparing, because they have very different feels to them.
Well, they are two separate films.
I
as well.
understand, but a lot of us when we talk about
Aesthetically, these are two very different films.
when we talk about the Batman series, let's just say 20 years ago, if we were to talk about the Batman movies, we would only be talking about Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. And it's like, that's it. Like, that's what we've got for Batman films. Then we've got, we have the Dark Knight trilogy that came out, and we're like, whoa, like something different. So now we can start picking things apart and taking them out of trilogies and say, okay, now that this has come out, we're going to separate those other two and just kind of retcon them and just say Batman and Batman Returns are the only two that we care about. We can forget about the other ones now because they were
Hot garbage.
due to, lack of whatever. Yeah, they were hot garbage. So,
They're your guilty pleasure, though.
no, Batman and Robin is not a guilty pleasure. Batman Forever,
Is your favorite?
I want to say something here. This is the guy that walked around
It
on a
really is
playground
his favorite.
listening to the score for Batman Forever.
no, it wasn't the score, it was the soundtrack.
It was
No.
the
That
score.
soundtrack was good. That was.
It was not the score, it was the soundtrack. It had Seal,
Okay,
had
fine.
Offspring.
Fine.
Yeah, it didn't
Fine.
actually have a score. I
It
wish it
was-
did.
it
What I
was
do
the
drive around
soundtrack,
listening
but
to
you
is the
had
soundtrack to the
cassette.
Dark Knight.
You had the
which is-
cassette, and you were walking around the playground with the thing and the
course.
headphones. You're like, oh my god, this soundtrack is awesome. This movie.
Yeah, of course.
See, what he does, Rick, is he goes, I don't know if you've heard this yet, he goes, deleted scene. Deleted scene, deleted scene, deleted scene.
I say, well, maybe there's a deleted scene.
Well, maybe there's a deleted scene. Well, maybe there should have been like one line of dialogue that would have fixed this.
Yeah.
That's another one that
And
you
he
do.
said, oh, Kevin Smith saw the,
We just talked about that.
Let's
Yeah,
look-
there's a
look-
Schumacher cut.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It exists.
Of course it does.
It does. There's a petition going around
Yes.
for them to release.
Absolutely.
Can I have a
But
request.
it's everything that's.
I have a request.
we've
Can you
already
just
seen.
pull that mic a little closer to you, please?
My bad.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can rear back all you want to. Just keep it.
No,
keep
no.
it a little close. Thank
For
you.
sure.
For show. So, all in all, back to Batman Returns. It's now that I'm looking at them this way and seeing them, I don't want to compare between 89 and Returns and say which one I like better. I like them both for different reasons.
too.
This one this one for me is just it's definitely a lot darker, mostly because of Danny DeVito. And I really enjoy that for some reason. I think that his character makes me laugh the entire time. The
You
whole
think DeVito
parasol
was darker
thing
than
and-
Nicholson?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Wow.
do too. Mm-hmm. My only question to you is the title of the movie.
Batman Returns. I know Batman Returns to the theater. It's just he's back. Like that's whatever. I'm happy they didn't do Batman 2.
Sure.
That just would have been like, oh, Batman 2. Okay.
Not like Superman too.
No, they already did that. But then they did Superman 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then they said Superman Returns. Like, oh,
That's because he actually left and came back.
yeah, no, I get that. I'm
That
just saying,
title makes sense.
it does make sense, but doesn't follow along with everything else that they were already titling.
that title
up
doesn't
to that
make
point.
sense because it wasn't Christopher Reeve.
And it also doesn't make sense because they somehow retconned
Three and
and
four.
said 3 and 4 didn't exist.
And why wasn't
At least
Lois
4.
pregnant?
They said that. 3
yeah,
and 4 didn't exist.
yeah.
Well,
it's
they're,
supposed to
they're
take
doing
place
that
after.
because in Superman Returns, his son is Lois's. Well, Lois's son is Superman's son.
right.
Which makes no
Right.
sense.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
From
Which makes
Superman
no
2.
sense.
Okay.
Human woman cannot survive Kryptonian nonsense. I'm sorry.
no, no.
She can't, but he was human when
For a
they
split second.
Oh yeah.
when they
Did the thing.
No,
The
he was
thing.
human. You're right. He's right. He's right.
Yeah.
He was human in 2
Mm-hmm.
when they boned. Yeah. I always forget about that.
Sorry, I guess I'm a little late on that one.
So technically, her son shouldn't
Here,
have
let's
any
pre-
powers whatsoever. Don't play it again.
Anyways. Okay.
What are your thoughts, Rick?
So this is definitely I think we're of the same wavelength and same thought here. This was my first movie I ever saw in the theater as a kid.
Yeah, see, mine was Little Mermaid. This one's watching like one of the most disturbing superhero
Wow,
movies.
really? This was your first movie in the theater?
Yeah, it was.
Mine too.
Actually.
Mine too. We're on
Was
the
it?
same page. My first movie in the theater was this. My mom took to see me. My mom took to
Yeah.
see me. My mom took me
My
to
mom
see this.
took
yeah.
to see me.
Yeah,
Yes,
me too.
yes.
It was at the Lawrence Showcase Cinemas, which is now defunct. and
Showcase
torn
in
down.
Revere.
Hey, just like Revere.
Yeah.
Ah,
So, but yeah,
Frequented
watching
both
the
of those.
movie, I was just like, wow, it's Batman. You know, you're excited because I love the first one, so naturally the second one's gonna be just as good as the first one, and it was good. Don't get me wrong, it was it had everything you wanted in a Batman movie. You know, it just felt different because it was different.
Yeah.
You know, it was different. It was visually different. I mean, almost everything about it was different.
It was darker.
It was a lot darker, a lot more crude, but we've already discussed that too. You know, I just kept gravitating towards 89 versus Batman Returns, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I think maybe because as a kid I felt like it felt long to me watching Batman Returns versus watching Batman 89.
yeah.
I think it was a little too much for me as a kid having the two villains, because I was 5 years old. Let's be serious here. 5 years old. So, you know what I mean?
Oh, I wish you brought that picture of Batman coming to your birthday party.
Oh yeah,
That
one
would've
of the
been good
many
to
times. You know, but I mean, as the years went on, you know, there are diehard people who prefer Batman Returns over 89. I mean, and they'll say all day long, you know, why it was superior, and that's cool. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion on it, and that's okay. You know, that's not to say that I don't like it at all. I love it. It's Batman. You know,
Right.
it's Michael Keaton. He returned. He's back. You know, and we've got a returning Michael Gough as Alfred, Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon. I think those are all the ones from the original movie that
Yeah.
made it into the second one.
I had forgotten that Walken was even in this movie until I started watching it again.
Yeah, yeah. Christopher
Oh, yeah.
Walken made it into
Oh,
the
yeah.
movie. You know, it also was around Christmas time, so I remember the feeling of, you know, the snow and all that stuff, and just taking it in for being what it was and different, you know, in that sense. I was kind of hoping we'd see another Batwing in there or something, but we got the Bat ski boat at the end, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's Batman, you know. It was different direction, but you know, this was Tim Burton's, like, he had full reign over this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like all day
The
long.
studio wasn't having its
No.
greedy little fingers in it.
No, because the success of the first one did so good, so good that they were like, "Here, do what you want." So he was like, "Great," which, you know, they filmed 89 over in England,
Yep.
over at Pinewood Studios, which I had mentioned in the previous episode, and from what the talk going around was at the time was that it was miserable. Tim Burton had a miserable time making 89. For some reason, he hated it. I'm not sure why. I think since then he's publicly stated that his feelings have changed about it. But when he got to do the chance to do Batman again, and now he had full reign.
That would have been a good one. Batman again.
Batman again. Yeah. Now the production is
That is so lazy. That is so lazy. Batman again.
like, here we go again, damn it. Here it comes, right? But you know, now he's in California. He's in Warner Brothers at the studio sound stages and even the backlots. And I mean, you know, they constructed all those sets and those sound stages. I mean,
There's a lot.
Yeah, there was.
Okay, hold on, wait a minute. Batman again is lazy, but Batman Returns is not.
Oh no, they're both lazy. But Batman
Okay.
again.
More exciting.
Batman again. To his point, here we go again. Like that's exactly what
Batman
it sounds
tomorrow.
like.
That's awesome. Batman Strikes Back.
Yeah, sure.
Batman Strikes Bat.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, all in all,
Well, maybe what if they did? I know we're jumping around with this, but I'm kind of hooked on the titles here. What if it was just Batman, like
...
Batman, and then it had like a sub title underneath it, like Batman, Joker's Run or something, or like whatever,
Something
like something underneath
in
it, like
addition.
Penguin's Prance.
The Penguin's Prance. The Penguin
like
Flop.
what if it was just like that, Batman, and then blah blah blah, and you knew that was the second one because it came next, like maybe they could've done something like that.
Batman and Gotham's First Sons.
Okay.
Kind
Yeah,
of
that
what
would
the
make
movie's
sense.
about.
Batman, Gotham's First Sons. Yeah,
Yeah.
like there you go.
No, I mean, this is one too. Like '89, I saw more on videotape,
Oh, wow.
as well as this one.
Videotape.
Sorry,
Dating ourselves
VHS
here.
videotape.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was it. It was a videotape.
Yes.
For those
That is
of you who don't know what a
that is one
videotape is.
medium I hope
For
never
those of
comes
you who
back.
couldn't afford
I never want
auto-tracking on your
VHS
VCR.
or cassette to come back. Vinyl can make the comeback all it wants to. I'm happy
Yeah.
about it. But VHS and cassette, that can stay dead.
It can't come back. It's literally deteriorating.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my memories are just, just having some of the merchandise when I was a kid, being all excited for it and whatnot, having the McDonald's toys. I wasn't
Yes.
one of those. I wasn't one of those kids that was totally turned off by the gore and stuff in it. I don't know. I mean, I didn't think anything weird of it. It was cool. Well, whatever.
I'm actually turned off on it more now as an adult
I think now, yeah.
for
Yes.
this movie than I was when I was a kid.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
But specifically this movie, only because I look at it now and I go, wow, there was like
There's a lot.
just his mouth. It's
Yeah.
constantly dripping
It was
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a little much.
It was much.
And it's not that I can't stomach it. It's just that it's just too much. And like when he bites the guy's nose and it's bloody.
That's my favorite line. Every time somebody says something, I just go, "Hey, could be worse." I just love it.
But I think that's it. Though you see the black in like
In his
all of
teeth
his
and-
teeth, like through
Yeah.
the entirety of the film. I think that's just so it's a weird feeling for me because I look at him and I go, oh, he looks like he smells. If that makes any sense.
Does he smell like he looks?
No,
Or he's like,
Yeah, it could go both ways.
but we can't smell him. So, but
Can
you
we?
look at him like even in that suit,
Yeah, it looked gross.
it looks disgusting.
Yeah.
And you're like, the smell on him must be horrendous. It's probably fishy. Like,
Yeah.
it's sweaty.
And that's valid. That's valid
very
because like the Penguin is not supposed to look like that. Any comic book Batman fan would know that the Penguin doesn't look like that. He's a man. Yeah, he's a pudgy man.
Yeah.
But he's also in a tailcoat. He's got a little
Oh.
top hat. He's got a monocle. That's the
Question.
Penguin.
I'm sorry.
Question
I'm sorry.
for you,
Hold on.
because I know how Chuck feels. I kind of know how Lee feels. How do you feel about HBO doing a series of Penguin starring
Oh,
Colin
yeah.
Farrell?
yeah.
Are you looking forward to
No.
this, or are you just kind of whatever?
I didn't think he was bad in the Batman.
Okay.
I mean, we'll see what happens.
But he didn't come off as the Penguin. He came off as like a mobster.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
they all are in
Yeah.
some way.
I didn't
know?
see anything like.
Well, even in Gotham, he was part of the mob scene.
Yeah, they all are part of that underground.
yeah.
They're all tied. They're all tied to the Maroney family.
Yes.
Or what's the other family that they're tied to? If it's not Maroney's, it's
Falcone.
Falcone.
Falcone, yeah.
They're all he's tied. He's and in Gotham. He's playing both sides.
Now, can I ask when those characters were first introduced? Is it comics that those characters were introduced? Falcone and Maroni?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to
I
this,
feel like they've come up and become a bigger deal since the Dark Knight
They are.
trilogy.
Yeah, no.
They weren't really
for sure.
like
No, because
brought up
when
at
we
all.
had the animated series, it wasn't Falcone and Maroni. It was
No.
Rupert Thorne.
Right.
Rupert Thorne was the main head
Right.
honcho there, and it's like you don't even hear about that guy anymore, you know. So, but I mean, it's so fascinating because the way that Danny DeVito looked as the Penguin in this was not what they marketed in the toys. This his action figure based on the Batman Returns line. I have the Catwoman figure here, but his action figure was a repurposed Superpowers figure with the tails and all that, like just painted differently. So they got to sell toys, you know.
That's
See
wild.
that?
Yeah, of course you can. Check out the back of it. So
Okay.
that's the Penguin, the Batman Returns version of the Penguin, you know.
It looks nothing like Danny DeVito's Penguin in this.
No, it doesn't. And
I still look at the umbrella. The umbrella makes no sense to me.
That's just the Penguin.
I think
Penguin had
it's
an
a
umbrella.
dapper guy, you know, having like a cane almost, if you will, but it's the Penguin, an umbrella, just in case it rains. He's prepared.
With knives and guns.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. But also that also comes from it does come from the comics, but as well as the '60s television show with Burgess Meredith.
I love when he pulls out the one that's supposed to like hypnotize.
Yeah. No,
You
we're
walk
supposed to
in-
give him a splitting headache. It's
Yeah,
not working.
that's it. Which actually they did that on the McDonald's toy. I don't know
Yes,
if you
they
remember
did.
that.
I do remember that.
It's like a little car, and on the back of it
on
had the
was the
was the
back of the
front.
front. It had a spinning.
I think it was the front.
Yeah, it had a spinning
Umbrella.
umbrella. And I remember they had like him and the ducky.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
So yeah, I mean it's Batman Returns. You know, it's a whole different feel of a movie. It's good. You know. So
You just prefer 89.
I prefer 89 over it, but I'm glad to see that, you know, Michael Keaton did at least sign on for it. I wish that he had done Forever. He was contracted to.
He was.
He had a suit made. There is a test photo or a production photo of the suit that was supposed to be Michael Keaton's on a mannequin that looks like Michael Keaton. So there was a suit prepared for him to be in Forever, but it didn't end up happening.
So I don't remember. Forever was Val Kilmer, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we all know what happened with Forever because of Batman Returns and the backlash that happened over Batman Returns. You know, because people went to go see it and was like, what is this movie? Like, that's why, like, the kids, and then they had all these, like, burnings in effigy and all this stuff, and, you know, crazy stuff. McDonald's pulled out of the deal, you know, after that, and I mean, how are they going to sell toys? So
And McDonald's toys were a big thing back then.
Absolutely.
yeah,
I
for
think
sure. So-
you just said the most important thing about this. How are you going to sell toys?
Yep.
that's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
That's sad.
Selling it, and if you look at the Batman Returns line of toys, you've got 25 different Batmans in all these different colors, all these different arrangements, all these different gadgets that had nothing to do with anything that happened in the movie. But hey, I don't have that one. I need that one because it's got Batman Returns on it. Hey, I don't have that one, you know? So there was a big line. There was a big line of toys that came up. Because what happened was in '89, the toys were done with Toy Biz. Toy Biz had the license to do the sculpts and everything for the Batman movie.
Wow.
And then people were complaining about it because the sculpts didn't look really good. So you had, for an example, you've got the Toy Biz version of the Joker, right? If you can see it there.
I can see
it. His suit looks okay, but his face sculpt doesn't really look anything like Jack Nicholson
Nothing
at all.
like it.
No.
Like, no, not at all.
No.
And, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. So, this was Toy Biz. Kenner was the original company.
Oh wow.
And, because they had the license prior to Toy Biz, and they lost it for some reason. That's why Toy Biz picked up the slack on them for '89, and right after '89, Kenner came back and they released the Dark Knight collection, where you actually have there's Jack Nicholson, and there's an actual figure that kind of looks like Jack.
That looks a little bit better.
And that showed the picture on the bottom too, which is kind of cool. That if you dip his face in water, it turns to the fleshy
to
color.
the flesh
that's
color.
really
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
so this was pretty cool. So that was superior in a lot of ways. And so then Kenner continued with the Batman Returns line, which is what I have a couple of them, but it's to sell toys, man. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really what it was.
Yeah.
You know, I think that when they had the license, they didn't know exactly how Danny DeVito was going to look as the Penguin. So then that's why they based the Penguin off their old sculpt that they used to have.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, Rick, you would remember this. Was it Sam Hamm? Was he? So he was the writer. One of the main writers.
Yeah.
For this, was he the one who was basically pushing for this from the get go, or who was the one who started the whole thing? I don't think it was Sam. It was someone else.
Like pushing the story,
Well,
or
pushing making Batman '89.
Oh no, that was Michael Uslan.
Okay,
Michael
Michael-
Uslan is the executive producer
Okay,
of Batman.
so he's the one who was pushing for it. One of the coolest stories that I remember was that he was trying to. I think he was at college and he was trying
Yeah.
to push
Comic books.
making a comic book class, focusing on comics. And the dean or the teacher, whoever that he was trying to talk to, he's like, nobody cares about comics. That's not something that we're gonna, we're not going to accredit a class for that. And he's just like, well, these are great stories. And he goes, it's kid stuff. And so he's like, okay. So he's like, tell me the story of Superman, right? So he tells him the whole story of Superman. He goes through. He's like, "Oh, this boy was sent out by his parents. He goes over here, does all this stuff." And he goes, "Okay, yeah." And he goes, "Or tell me the story of Moses." And it's the exact same story as
Origin
Superman,
story.
basically. Just like sent down here, sent away, and then came back and came and saved the people. And he's just like, he's getting halfway through the story, and he goes, "All right, your class is accredited."
Yeah.
Just gives it to him.
That's it.
It's a really cool story. I'm just like, how he just went up there. He's like, "No, this is valid. It's a real good story."
It is.
So it's nice to see that people were pushing to get to get comic books get comic book stories
It will, yeah.
into where it is now, because if that I mean, I'm not going to say that it's all because of him having that conversation, but that was a pioneering start
Oh,
to
definitely.
taking these more seriously and bringing them into the direction where Batman was no longer zap pow bang, and it was something that could be taken
More serious.
as more seriously, because obviously this is not serious. We're talking about Batman Returns here, which is not serious whatsoever. But it took it in a very different direction, and without these movies, we wouldn't have the ones that we've talked about in the past few years doing this podcast.
Absolutely
So
not.
it's
I
it's
think-
amazing.
I think we bring up a good point too. I think Superman Returns, Batman Returns, is more comedy than the first movie.
Oh yeah,
This has way more comedy in it.
It does.
mostly because Danny DeVito.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely
Your table is ready, Mr. Pubblecott.
so Sam Hamm didn't exclusively write the draft for this either. And neither did he write the first one, because the whole writer's strike happened with
Right,
89.
right.
So it was Sam Hamm, but it was also in the first one Warren Scarron was the other writer who came in. For Batman Returns, you've got Sam Hamm and you've got a guy by the name of Daniel Waters. So, they both collaborated on this, which is interesting because did any of you guys read the Batman '89 comic books series that just recently came out?
Yeah, that's new. I didn't read them,
didn't.
but I
Pretty cool.
I mean, you know
Pretty
what
neat.
though? After
It's supposed to
talking
be
to you for the
continuation
past few
stories.
hours, I'm certainly interested in learning a lot more about.
Yeah. So
Batman
basically,
and,
what
like,
it is
backstory, because this is crazy.
it's basically Sam Hamm. It's his vision of what he wanted to do right from the get-go and how he wanted the story to continue. If he was to do what became Batman Forever, if he had signed on to do the rest of it, you literally see what happens to Harvey Dent, aka Billy D. Williams, and how he turns into Two-Face
Yeah.
in this comic book series, which is cool. And I mean, it ties in the whole thing with Catwoman, and I mean, it's all incorporated. There's a lot of Burton Easter eggs in that,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
But Batman Returns, you know.
So, my turn.
Your turn.
Nah.
Yes, your turn.
I love this movie. I love this
Yeah.
movie up and down. This is probably one of. This is definitely in my top 5 superhero movies of all time. Of all time,
Wow.
I
Wow.
love this movie for a variety of different reasons. And all of you actually brought up some of the reasons why. One main reason why is because Warner Brothers' greedy hands wasn't on it, and Tim Burton was able to do whatever he wanted, which I'm always
Yeah.
an advocate for. Anytime, excuse me, anytime an artist can actually create without money telling him what to do, I'm in favor of. I think it was a really wise choice. I love it. As for all of the backlashes this movie got, I understand where parents are coming from. I do. However, the movie is rated PG-13. How do you don't know going into it that, hey, this might not be for the kiddies? It's negligent
says
on
so
the
in the
parents'
rating.
part. I don't think what?
It says so in the rating. Like
It says so in the rating. It says
Yeah,
so
but-
in the rating. So
PG-13, a 13-year-old kid's not going to go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal. I would
you're
hope
right,
not.
and that's you're absolutely right,
Well-
which brings the whole conversation back to toys, which I don't care about toys. I never cared about toys when I was a kid all that much. They didn't interest me. I'm a film buff. I always have been. This was one of my first experiences. This movie, when I was a child, was on rotation more than anything else in my headcanon. It was absurd how many times I actually
cool.
watched
which
this
is why
movie.
we watched it when I came over. He's like, let's watch Batman. All right.
Returns.
Probably.
That's
I
cool.
probably asked you, have you ever seen this movie? And you were like, yeah.
And you were like, you ever heard of Prince? And then
Just everything, and even the way of how campy this movie is it just adds to the allure of it for me. Yes, it still has a lot of that Edward Scissorhands stink on it because of a lot of reasons, I'm sure. But I'm happy that Burton was able to do this, and he was able to do it all on his own. Michelle Pfeiffer in this movie, I agree with
So
all
good.
three of
The
you.
Michelle
She
Pfeiffer's
absolutely
so good.
kills it. She absolutely kills it. And the one performance that I'm going to compare it to is Christopher Reeve in Superman 3. His transition from good guy to villain and how subtle it was is one of my favorite in all of superhero movies ever. It's up there. It's an amazing moment when it happens, and it just proves his acting
right.
ability. Hers
I'm
is
so
on,
glad
hers-
you.
I'm sorry. What?
No, go ahead.
Her transition is on par with that. How she walks into the apartment absolutely out of her mind. Again,
Oh, yeah.
knocking over everything. The score that Danny Elfman was able to put together here just makes the scene so much more amazing. It's
That was cool.
fantastic. It's incredible. And speaking of Danny Elfman, the opener to this movie, I think, is far superior to 89. How you have
yeah.
Oswald in his crib floating down the river into the sewer, and just the swarm of bats and the Batman,
That
logo
was
that
cool.
comes
It-
across
that
the
was
street, and
amazing.
how
I
just the
loved
music
that.
swells up is
love that.
fantastic. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love everything about this movie. I love that it's a Christmas movie. I love that again, Gotham feels so dystopian and not like Batman 89. Batman 89 is good in its own right, but Batman 89, again, to me, it just felt like another city gone bad. Corrupt cops and blah, 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 and gangs and everything running around. Yeah, fine.
Sure.
We've seen that 1,000 times before in old 30s, 40s mob-style movies. I don't need to see it again. Here, it actually felt different. Yeah, it was a set. Yeah, the snow was fake. I can forgive all that, but just the aesthetic of Gotham in this movie is amazing.
Yeah.
And again, something else that speaks to Tim Burton. If daylight in Batman 89 to me felt weird, daylight in this movie is wild. It does not feel like it belongs in this movie at all. It feels foreign. It doesn't feel like it fits to the aesthetic of this movie. So when they do show it, it's just jarring, and I love that. But yeah, and then Christopher Walken. This character in this movie, is he Christopher Walken the way he's Christopher Walken and everything else that he's played? Absolutely, but he turns it up a lot here from The way that he toys with Selena right before he's about to push her out the window is fantastic. And even his office. Like, they went
Oh,
into
I
so
love
much
that.
detail about just his office, how when Selena's going nuts about his speech, there's pictures on the wall, and it's
was hoping you were gonna
Max
bring that up.
standing with Sammy Davis Jr., which
Yep,
it's not.
yep.
It's him standing with Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's another one of
Elvis.
him standing with Reagan. There's one of them standing with Elvis,
No,
and
Elvis,
it's a very popular picture of Elvis, but he's standing
And
with
Nixon.
Nixon, and they just cut out Nixon and throw in Christopher Walken.
They slap Christopher
It's
Walken up.
hilarious.
Hey everybody, Lee from Black and White Reviews here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in, checking out our conversation. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more about this specific subject or other things, check us out on our podcasting sites, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Podcasts. We're up on pretty much all of them. So yeah, thanks again for popping by, and yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.